very much, and thanks Magnus from the Nordic PropTech Initiative, and thanks you guys on PlaceTech. It's great to be here. It's always a challenge when you're the last speaker in the room. I hope nobody sleeps. If you do, continue. Hopefully I can wake you up. My name is Andreas Broryd. I'm the co-founder and CEO of Workaround. We are a digital marketplace for and focusing on really small and growing companies to find offices. And I'm going to talk to you a little bit why we chose to segment small companies, because that's the best. And of course, there's something about co-working though. First, since we talked about it, and WeWork are here. Co-working is like two things we see. It's something that you share space and you have, and you can meet other companies. That's the main thing. Regus started in Stockholm, Stureplan 95. They started in the 80s, we know that. But they said in Wikipedia they started in Stureplan 95. That was mainly a vehicle to rent out vacant buildings. When we talk about the co-working, I think you find, if you Google it, there's somewhere in San Francisco, they started the thing about co-working. People actually, the companies actually collaborate and find benefits of sitting together. And so this has been happening all for a long time. But right now, we see a change. 7 years ago, there were only 40,000 square meters in Stockholm of flexible workspace. That was from the main suppliers like Regus and stuff. Now, in 2019, it's 100,000 square meters, and it's growing rapidly. I think WeWork's number is not in here. And this is also only the main suppliers like Regus and WeWork and Commendum and stuff like that. I think in London, they only represent like 20% of the total square footage or square meters that are let to flexible workspace. So it's increasing rapidly and fast. And why is this? I think the first thing is there is a lot of the number of companies has increased. In Sweden, there were like when we started up a couple of years ago, there was like 1 million companies in Sweden. I think it's 1.2 now. So the actual number of companies are growing, but also there's the small ones that are growing. 99% of all companies are less than 20 employees. There is another thing. They grow and shrink in a much faster than we've done before. And I think everybody can agree about that. You all heard about Voi. They contacted us in July last year. They rented 2 desks. Now they have like 2,000 square meters in a building near us. We also helped Kry last year, which is an online doctor service. They actually couldn't move into their office they've signed a 5-year lease for, because they've outgrown it 5 months before they should move in. It's like bananas. This is just examples, of course, but they're all digital companies that grow and shrink really fast. There are also, of course, the thing, there's a risk in that, that companies live much shorter nowadays than they've done before. And I think these trends is why one of the things why co-working is growing so fast right now. There's like the drive from the companies. There's more companies, they grow and shrink, and they demand flexible space. But also, of course, they need like a community to be in order to thrive. And that's another thing for co-working places. What do they do? What do you do, guys, on WeWork? You provide companies with offices, of course, and there's the offices as a service with flexible agreements and short-term contracts and all that. But what WeWork have got and understood, and I think was that there's something more, because as office as a service, you can only reduce costs or create possibilities. But with the culture and the community, where you actually meet people, where you share the same desk on lunch, you start to talk to people, and then you find out that your neighbor is actually developing a CRM system, which you need, and stuff like that. And it's a collaboration between companies that actually creates real value, not only reduce costs, we think. So, here's an idea. And we've talked about co-working before as a physical location. You're like, this is a co-working place, of course. I think, and many have understand this, that co-working is just not the physical location anymore. It's like because the office where you're in right now, you're just going to be there for 6 months, a year, or at least 2, at the maximum 2. Then you move away. So the current location is just a stepping stone to the next one. So the actual physical place is not that important anymore. And this is kind of what we're trying to achieve at Workaround in comparison to the other guys who've been here today. We're a small company. We've been around for only 2 years. But what we're trying to do, we try to create a relationship with all these small companies while they're still growing. And that relationship enables us, so gives us the ticket to be friends with them and collaborate with them. And then we use a lot of data, because we know when they started, how many employees they have, if they're recruiting, if they're taking in capital. So we know next time they're going to move. But we also know all the vacancies in Stockholm. So our goal is to let the CEO know where he's going to move in 6 months before he knows it himself. Because we know the exact perfect spot for that company in 6 months. And that is what we're trying to achieve. And being a digital platform or a digital broker or whatever, our goal is to find the perfect space for all companies. So when we're trying to do this, for example, we have showings. So we book Uber tours for the companies. So they go up, pick them up at certain locations at certain times, and when they have a viewing with a co-working space or a regular office, then they can fill in the form afterwards to compare, and when they come back from that tour, they have like a perfect set of information where everybody thought about the tour, where everybody thought about the location, and then you compare the prices. And that's just one thing, of course. A little bit about us. It's not like really comparable to WeWork, but we started out 2.5 years ago. We helped 1,500 companies to move. We actually moved around 30,000 people. This is only in Stockholm. We're Stockholm-based. We are trying to get our product right first before we go out. We have in our pipeline right now, it's like 273 companies that we are helping finding space. So they are booked at showings at WeWork next week or in Convendum today, and so forth. And if you want to look at it in this way, we're creating 5,000 cups of coffee each hour in different places for companies that we have helped. And this is just one thing, we think. All the things we do are just small things. We book the showings, we get the information on how that facility was. Was it like good enough? Could you compare it with the picture on our ad? Were they nice when they met you? The coffee okay? Is the rent high enough? Low enough? High enough? And all that kind of bits and pieces of information. What was the least value of that contract? We of course share and store and use. So we create the information and data that we can use all the time. So like at this moment, we're like, I think it's like 12 showings this hour, where we get more information about co-working places and other offices around Stockholm without really doing anything. I'm just here bubbling around. That's cool. That was all for me. Hope it was worth something. Have a nice lunch.